Good afternoon. It is February 5th, 2025, and we welcome you to Phoenix City Council chambers. We'll begin with an invocation from Police Chaplain Jim Williams.
Madam Mayor, City Council, and staff, thank you so much for what you do. Would you all join me in a prayer of invocation? Lord, I come to you reaching out and requesting your participation in our City Council meeting today. I lift you, our mayor, our City Council, and their staff members. I believe you've selected and anointed everyone on this leadership team, and I thank you for that. These are precious and willing souls that constantly share their leadership and talents. Father, I ask you to draw the mayor and council close to you, gathering them in favor. Wash them with your wisdom and discernment as only you can. Father, I ask that you protect our city leaders, our employees, our fire and police. Let's keep keeping them healthy and safe. Lord, I thank you in advance for your grace and discernment and love extended to all of our city leaders. To you, Father, we give all the praise and all the glory. Amen.
Councilman Galindo Elvira will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chaplain Williams, and thank you, Councilman. I'll now call the formal meeting to order. Will the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Galindo Elvira.
Here.
Councilwoman Guardado.
Here.
Councilwoman Hodge Washington.
Here.
Councilwoman Pastor.
Here.
Councilman Robinson.
Here.
Councilwoman Stark.
Here.
Councilman Waring. Here. Vice Mayor O'Brien.
Here.
Mayor Gallego.
Here. We'll begin with the meeting. We'll begin with the interpretation. And Mario, would you introduce your team?
Yes, Mayor. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Mario Barajas, and together with my colleague, Elsie Duarte, we're going to be serving as interpreters for our Spanish-speaking residents at this meeting. I'm going to take a moment now to introduce ourselves to our Spanish-speaking residents and review a couple of guidelines with them. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Mario Barajas. Voy a estar sirviendo como intérprete junto con mi colega Elsie Duarte a los de habla hispana el día de hoy. Quisiéramos informarles, como siempre, un par de pautas que pudieran seguir para ayudarnos a ayudarles a ustedes en la interpretación. Primeramente, pedimos de que si es que van a dar un comentario público, hablen de una manera lenta, clara y haciendo pausas de vez en cuando. Y para los que van a estar dando un comentario desde sus teléfonos, pedimos también adicionalmente que eviten distracciones de fondo. Haciendo esto nos va a facilitar la interpretación. Muchas gracias. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mario. Glad to have you with us. Will the city clerk please read the 24-hour paragraph?
The titles of the following ordinance and resolution numbers on the agenda were available to the public at least 24 hours prior to this council meeting and therefore may be read by title or agenda item only. Ordinances number G7351 through 7359 and S 51616 through 51635.
Thank you so much. Will the city attorney explain the role of public comment?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the public may speak for up to 2 minutes to comment on agenda items. Comments must be related to the agenda item and the action being considered by the council. General comments that go beyond the scope of the agenda item must be made in the citizen comment session at the end of the agenda. The City Council and staff cannot discuss or comment on matters related to pending investigations, claims, or litigation. Additionally, any member of the public who appears before council in their capacity as the lobbyist must, as required by Phoenix City Code, disclose this fact before addressing council. The City Code requires speakers to present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profane language, threats, or personal attacks on members of the public, council members, or staff are not allowed. A person who violates these rules will lose the opportunity to continue to speak.
Thank you so much. We'll next move to the meeting minutes. Vice Mayor, do you have a motion?
I do. Mayor, I move to approve the meeting minutes from September 4th, 2024.
We have motion and second. Any comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. Item 2, boards and commissions. Vice Mayor.
I move to approve mayor and city council boards and commissions nominations.
Second. A motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. We will now swear in our new commissioners. If our commissioners could come forward. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and the laws of the state of Arizona. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations. Thank you for serving in these important roles for the city of Phoenix. Thank you. And we love it. Congratulations to our new commissioners. They play such an important role in the city of Phoenix and help us make much better decisions. We provide an advisory role to the state of Arizona on liquor licenses, and we go to that portion of the agenda next. Vice Mayor, do you have a motion?
I move to approve items 3 through 16, noting that item 16 was originally submitted for disapproval, but Finance Department is now recommending approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. City Clerk, are we ready for ordinances, resolutions, new business, planning, and zoning?
Yes, Mayor.
Vice Mayor, do we have a motion?
I move to approve items 17 through 46, except the following. Items 25 and 46, noting that item 26 is as revised. Item 46 has additional information. And can the clerk confirm if there are any other items that should be excluded for in-person public comment?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, also excluding item 44. Item 44.
We have a motion and a second from Councilwoman Stark. Any additions, comments? Roll call.
Galindo Elvira.
Yes.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Stark. Yes. Waring. Yes. O'Brien.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Excellent. Congratulations to all those involved. There's some major infrastructure investments, and today's council meeting in total will entitle 992 housing units as agendized. So doing a lot of work for the people of Arizona. We will next go to item 25, and I'll ask the city clerk to read the title.
Item 25 is for ordinance G7358, an ordinance amending section 4-114 of the Phoenix City Code relating to fueling and defueling of aircraft at the City of Phoenix airports.
Do we have a motion, Vice Mayor?
I move to approve item 25.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Galindo Elvira.
Yes.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Stark.
Yes.
Waring. O'Brien.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
All right, we have only 2 items to go, one in District 5 and one in District 2. District item 44. I'll turn to the councilwoman for a motion.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve item 44, a grade project in District 5.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Armando Felix is here to provide testimony. Armando, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Honor and Councilman. The reason I oppose this situation is because I own or operate and have managed for 30 years the shopping center across the street called Felix Plaza, a small center. And I've seen twice 2 buildings of mine destroyed by the traffic on 39th Avenue and Grand because of the way the 39th Avenue meets Grand. It's at a 135-degree angle instead of 90-degree angle. And also, I noticed a study that you made for this proposal does not include the new bridge that's going on at 35th Avenue and in School and Grand. And the what's going to happen there is that 35th Avenue is going to go over Grand Avenue, and there's not going to be any lights or anything on Grand Avenue. You'll be able to go directly from about 33rd Avenue up to about 51st Avenue without any lights. As it is right now, the number of tickets that are issued are numerous. I often see as many as 4 police cars giving out tickets at one time at the shopping center because of people speeding. And we have had deaths, we've had a lot of injuries, and we have to resolve the problem of 39th Avenue. And that's the only reason I put my opposition to this item, is I am very much in favor of housing for the poor and to help them out and get in there. But I'm not in favor of allowing this dangerous situation to exist. And I'm in communications right now with
You can finish your sentence.
Pardon me?
Feel free to finish the sentence.
Okay. I'm right now in communications with a member of UMOM and traffic engineer. We have a meeting tomorrow at 10:30 where we're going to discuss some possible ways of making it a safer intersection. I'd like to point out that the way if you go down Grand Avenue right now, please notice that most of the telephone posts are new. The reason they're new is most of them have been destroyed by traffic accidents.
Okay. Thank you. That's very important testimony. We are very focused on this intersection. It unfortunately is one of our most dangerous. And so we got a major grant, I think our largest in county history, to try to address that. And at least I can defer to the councilwoman, but my sense is there's a real chance to address the safety issues, but it sounds like the land use and the affordable housing is still makes sense. But thank you for, we know that intersection needs a lot of attention. Did Councilman or Councilwoman Guardado and then Councilwoman Stark.
Great, thank you. Is Josh here? Sorry, Josh. So can we just talk, can you just explain a little bit of how we're gonna remedy some of these situations? And I know it's been a huge concern for a lot of us for a long time. So can you just allude to that a little bit, talk about that?
Mayor, Councilman Rolado, there are several stipulations associated with this rezoning case that require a traffic impact assessment prior to this project getting any type of preliminary approval from the city. That traffic impact assessment will have to be submitted. That'll address everything from access to potential signalization to potentially any improvements that would be done. And so there'll be ongoing coordination with the Street Transportation Department, given the project's location, coordination with ADOT as well, prior to any aspect of the development going forward. That is a requirement and a stipulation associated with this case.
And then Ben, I know Ben, you're here as well. And I guess question for you, we want to know the commitment from you, Mom, and making sure that you guys are also committed to helping with a lot of these issues and challenges that we're facing.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Ben Graff, representing UMOM, Outreach Ministries. I'm at 2 North Central Avenue with the law firm of Quarles and Brady. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. First, before I answer the specific question, I did want to let you know Mr. Felix and I have been in contact. Our office helped set up the meeting tomorrow with the Streets and Transportation Department to talk about some of the concerns. He has very important both anecdotal and experience data with that intersection, and I wanted to make sure we got him in front of staff. And so we'll be meeting tomorrow, and I appreciate being able to meet you in person today. So thank you so much. Yes, UMOM is an experienced affordable housing developer with commitments to this neighborhood and the area. As the mayor noted at the beginning of this agendized section today, we are 192 of the agendized units, affordable housing units, to be approved today. We are fully committed to the safety of this site, and in fact, the access to this site has already been designed in a way that won't interfere or increase problems on Grand Avenue. So for example, there are no direct access points to our site off of Grand. You have to turn onto 39th Avenue to come in. So there's no one stopping along Grand, slowing down traffic, creating some of those accidents. Also, the city's confirmed that our access point from 39th Avenue is properly distanced from Grand Avenue. All that being said, Mr. Bernard's statement is correct. We are subject to stipulations and further traffic study, and we can guarantee with that this will be a safe and wonderful improvement to the Grand Avenue area.
Thank you so much for that. And safety is a number one concern for us. We've been talking about Grand Avenue, Camelback for the last couple of years, and very grateful for the grants that we have to be able to enhance that area when it comes to safety. We have a couple of schools along Camelback in that catty corner with Grand Avenue. So I am committed as well to making sure that we look at this project and make it safe for everyone that continues to use Camelback and Grand. You know, I don't live that far from that area myself, so I understand, and I'm going to stay committed to this project because we do need the affordable housing, but at the same time, we have to balance it on making sure that we have a commitment from everyone that will continue to make the street safe, that will make it more walkable, which is something that I've personally been working on throughout the whole district. So very excited about the partnership with you, Mom, and of course, making sure that we continue to listen to our constituents and our businesses in the area, and that we continue to improve the area for it to be equitable for everyone that lives around there. Thank you so much, Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Stark.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out stipulation 18, which is a requirement for the traffic impact analysis, that it also not only goes to us, but we have to work with ADOT. And most importantly, in that stipulation, it says before a site plan is approved. So I hope that gives Felix some comfort that nothing is going to be on the ground until we have all the traffic issues resolved, and that you've worked with ADOT and with him as well in his shopping center. I think that stipulation says it well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pastor.
I just want to make a comment. That area, I drive often, especially on the weekends, and so the taco shop is really good.
Roll call.
Galindo Elvira,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Waring, O'Brien,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
We now go to our final agendized item, which is item 46, the southeast corner of 56th Street and Shea Boulevard. We'll begin with the staff report. And I think we did not introduce Josh when he came forward, but Josh directs our Planning and Development Department.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I'm going to ask our Deputy Director, Tricia Gomes, over Planning and Zoning, to give an overview of the request. Tricia.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Next slide. Item 46 is located at the southeast corner of 56th Street and Shea Boulevard. It is 2.59 acres, and they're rezoning from RE 43 to commercial office, general office. Next slide. To the north, across Shea Boulevard, is a golf course zone resort and a single-family residence zoned RA35. To the south is a vacant land zoned RA43, and to the east is a place of worship zoned RA43, and across the west of 56th Street is a place of worship and a private school zoned RA43. Oh, thank you. The site plan proposes 2 medical office buildings with vehicular access is proposed along 56th Street and Shea Boulevard. Some conceptual renderings of the building. The Paradise Valley Village Planning Committee was scheduled to hear this item on December 2nd, however, did not have a quorum. The Planning Commission heard this item on January 2nd and recommended approval per the staff recommendation with 2 additional stipulations regarding the location of the driveway on 56th Street and a traffic control device to discourage left turns onto 56th Street by a vote of 6-2. The February 5th, 2025 memo from the PDD director modifies stipulation 1 to include the conceptual building renderings and add stipulation 30 regarding signage. Staff recommends approval of Z119-24 per the February 5th, 2025 memo from the PDD director and adopt the related ordinance. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I'll turn to Councilman Waring. This is in District 2.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. First, if I could maybe ask Josh just a question or two, if I could. Josh, so some citizens, we've actually heard from I think 9 people here in the last day or two about this, where before we weren't really hearing much about this at all. We did have a case a couple of years ago where future development in this area came up. My question to you is, you've looked at the minutes of what was said at that meeting. Does this project violate commitments that were made then to the neighborhood?
Mayor, Councilmember Waring, I believe that the case you're referring to is a request for RO that was just east of this site. There was extensive conversation with the community, and during the course of that discussion, especially at council, there were a variety of things that were focused on. One was building height, setbacks from the street, landscaping, design. There were stipulations that responded to all of those elements in that case. All of those items are addressed as part of this request as well through stipulations. And so I think an overall summary of that would be, yes, there are stipulations that are consistent in this request with the standards that were set in the previous request down the street.
Okay, so just speaking solely for District 2, Mayor, we've done that before, where we're like, okay, this is the template, and this is what you can do going forward. That was the goal in that case a couple of years ago. I recognize that some people who live in that neighborhood don't think it lives up to that, so we can address that in a minute. Nobody ever said it wasn't going to be an office or a business of some kind, correct?
Mayor and Councilmember, that's correct. The emphasis was on, again, design, height, setbacks, landscaping.
Okay, thank you. Mayor, may I ask, are citizens here to speak or on the phone to speak?
We have both.
Both. Okay, I might suggest, if it makes sense, for them to go first.
Great.
And then have the presentation.
All
is that
right.
okay?
If
you're prepared for that.
Applicant is fine with that? Absolutely. All right. So I'm sorry, we were expecting a 10-minute from the appellant and a 10-minute from the applicant, but we'll just do the general citizens first.
Yes,
and,
whoever
great.
is signed up to speak, and let's hear the concerns and then work from there.
Okay, wonderful. And appellant is okay with that too? Great. We'll begin with Avi, followed by Monica. I will open the public hearing. Now we'll begin with Avi, followed by Monica. Okay, is Monica here? Monica, followed by Richard.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Monica Brooks. I own the property that is 8 houses to the south of the suggested site. I would like to just point out that I recently found out about this, and part of the reason is where the posted wooden sign is literally at this corner almost of the stop site when the hearing was being held, so there's not really a good way to stop your car when you're in line to go through the stop site. So maybe food for thought for how other signs are posted in the future. I'm strongly opposed to the proposal as it is currently. I did review the photographs of the building, and it is much larger than what I would have considered to be appropriate for RO zoning, which is how it was approved in 2023. I would like to say I understand, and I think it's the right thing to do to have a transition property, as Shea is a busy street, and I'm highly doubting that anybody wants to put an individual residential home on that corner. However, there are very successful RO-zoned transition properties, and I would like to ask the council if you can defer the vote today and actually take a look at the property that's at the northwest corner of Tatum Boulevard and Choya, which is a very successful RO-zoned property. It is a commercial property, but it blends in with the neighborhood and the homes that it is adjacent to. The reasons that I am concerned are, obviously, it creates a dangerous traffic situation to an already very busy corridor, especially during the peak traffic hours of the day. It's very close to the intersection where the ingress and egress would be, and very close to that stoplight. So it's very difficult whether you're on 56th Street or you're on Shea. If I could just add one more thing. Also very close to that, obviously, is a very small children's school where they actually do a street crossing to go to their playground. They would be within less than 100 feet, and I think that's very dangerous. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Richard is next, followed by Lauren.
Hello, I'm Richard Pasquale. I live at 10210 North 57th Street. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for your time. I've had concerns that a strong signage stipulation is necessary to moderate the commercialization of our Country Club Acres neighborhood. There's 4 parcels there on Shea that have been the subject of, great controversy at a previous council hearing and also this year in terms of the communication. There are no commercial signs anywhere on Shea between 54th Street and 68th, which is all residential, only homes and churches. So I'm very pleased to say that such a stipulation has been agreed to, and I want to thank Attorney Hayes of Withey Morris. I want to thank Councilman Waring and Planner Marcel Escalar. I also want to thank the property owner, Ron Ehrman. I no longer oppose today's request.
Well, thank you for your leadership in coming out with a good solution. Lauren is next, followed by Avi.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Lauren. I'm a developer in the city of Phoenix, and I'm also a local resident to this project. Just wanted to voice my support for the project. I believe it is the right project for this area. There is a transition that would be required from Shea, and it isn't going to be something where people will put a single-family home right on that corner, given the school, given the busy street on Shea. It is a signaled street, so I think that helps. It does provide some medical services to the local area residents that are there. The operation for the facility is limited to 9 to 5 weekdays, which is also something that I think is quite appropriate for the neighborhood. And I believe that from what I've seen, it is a good residential scale for what is trying to be put onto that site. So that's just my thoughts.
Thank you so much. Avi is next, followed by Rika.
Hi, Mark Dorflein. I'm standing in for Avi Azule on this, and I...
And I'm sorry, we don't do that.
Oh.
So you are not registered?
No, they said
Okay.
take Avi's place.
Okay. I need folks to register. Rika is next, followed by Jack.
Hi, my name is Rika Caratanudo. I live at 5420 East Shea Boulevard. I am on the north side of the street. I do have a frontage road, and I am offended by those who are speaking saying that no one wants to live on Shea. We do. In fact, there are many homes that currently exist. And you're discounting your constituents. We vote for you, we support you, and you're dropping the ball on this. To commercialize this area is really not you're not doing well by your residents. I've lived here since 1989. My sons have gone to school in Chaparral High School. We support the local businesses. We try to oppose Mountainside Fitness. We tried to oppose the Honor Health. And as much as we tried to be as vocal as possible, we were ignored. We feel ignored. The implementation of a traffic light, I'm not sure who it's supposed to serve at 54th and Shea. It's rendered Shea Boulevard a parking lot. I don't say a virtual parking lot, but an actual parking lot, because from the light at 56th Street to the light at 54th Street to the light a little further west and then further east, it's virtually impossible. No, it's actually impossible, I'm sorry, to get out onto the street. It's like taking your life in your hands, trying to either go east or west. This started when Mountainside Fitness went in. I know we can't undo what has already been done, but I appeal to our elected officials to listen to the people here. If it's because people are moving out and you think you can't put residential there, it's because you've made it almost uninhabitable here. Now, I'm not moving because I don't want to leave and then you turn my almost acre lot into multi-housing. Is that your agenda?
Thank you.
To turn the...
Jack is next, followed by... Oh, go, please. Please. Yep.
Her this morning for the first time. So we're trying to address that. We'll try to give everybody a chance, but it was this morning, so I feel like that was maybe a little overstated. Thank you.
Thank you. Jack, let's see. I think Jack is next, followed by Steve.
Yeah, hi there. I live just off 61st and go drop my kids off at Shea, on Shea every day. Shea is becoming more commercial. It does already have traffic, and we do need more services. It is already a fast-moving street, so the reality, we just got to face the reality. We do need more services, and the residents of the surrounding areas do need some closer medical and other services. So I fully support this, and hope you guys vote yes on it.
Steve is our next speaker. We don't have, okay. All right, Lisa is next. Lisa is not online, okay. For our team, did we get everyone who, okay. Then I will turn back to Councilman Waring.
Perhaps we could hear from the applicant. I would like him to specifically address those issues. One thing for staff, because, and I forget her last name, but I think Monica spoke about crossing, and I think somebody else did as well. We have in District 2 used hawks around schools, including Horizon, so I'm certainly open to that. Our office always comes in under budget, so we have invested in the community by using some of that surplus in other ways in the district. That's probably not something the applicant had thought about, and I'm not trying to pawn it all off on you, but maybe we could work something out if it makes sense to the street department. So that's a conversation that's not going to be solved today, but it's something I'd like people to think about. And also, if you have thoughts, if you're open to that, for those who are not familiar with the term hawk, it is basically a stoplight that goes when you push a button, effectively. I think I'm describing it.
For often seen for pedestrians.
Yes, and it's really solely for pedestrians. You push the button and you get, the light comes on, you cross. So, but it's worked well in other school areas.
All right, we will introduce Jason Morris on behalf of the applicant.
Thank you so much, Mayor and Council. Jason Morris with you, Morris, on behalf of the applicant. Pleasure to be here this afternoon. And given my history, both with this site and with this particular area, I think a little bit of background is probably in order before I go through the actual slides, and I'll try and be very efficient with your time. But the property that we are discussing this afternoon is actually a site that over 25 years ago, when I had a full head of hair, I actually did a use permit on this site for Congregation Beth Israel across the street as a playground. The site had been donated to them. They had an opportunity to use it for, at the time, a school that they ran. Now that school is actually on the JCC campus and is no longer part of Congregation Beth Israel, but they do have a tenant charter school in there that uses playground, and there will be a playground that's being shifted. So as we look at this site, Congregation Beth Israel, obviously the seller of the property, is very supportive of this use because they hand-selected this use to be their neighbor across the street. And they were very well aware of the operations that occur in this building and what they need on a day-to-day basis. So that was the genesis of this. But my office also has the experience of a block away, as Councilman Waring referenced, there was an RO case. That RO case made sense as RO because it was a former home. It was a single-family lot that was going to be redeveloped on Shea Boulevard. I'll also point out that the caller who was speaking about living on Shea lives west of this project, lives on an acre lot, and also has the benefit of a frontage road protecting that property from Shea. The properties on the south side of Shea that we're discussing today are directly on Shea Boulevard. It is the busiest east-west arterial in this part of the valley and goes all the way to Fountain Hills. It hits 2 freeways, so there is significant traffic, and we recognize that. What is being proposed in this project is infinitesimal in terms of the background traffic on Shea. And I recognize that's difficult for people like myself who have been here for decades and seen the traffic grow over the years. But the fact of the matter is, this use is taking neighborhood residents and bringing them to medical or general offices and services in their neighborhood. And we heard that from some of the neighbors already. I'm going to walk you through, with your permission, Mayor, a little bit of the background of this case so that we can put it in perspective as to what we've heard. The design you just saw, and we'll show some other exhibits, is actually the same architect as the residential office that was approved 2 years ago. And the reason this applicant went to that architect was because Councilman Waring laid down what the rules of procedure would be for development at this intersection. We had been asked to do a residential scale. We had been asked to keep in height perspective with RO. We had been asked to work with signage and keep it at a low scale, which you heard from Mr. Pasquale, who I should point out, I thank for appealing this case and then working with us to work through the appeal and withdraw his opposition. So as we look at where we started, this is obviously a historical aerial. In 1956, it made sense to have this 2-acre lot along Shea because it was a 2-road street. As we look at it today, this is our scenario. It is a signalized intersection with a full crosswalk and pedestrian access on all 4 corners. It is surrounded by non-residential uses. So when we're asking ourselves, well, why would CO be appropriate at this location? We are across the street from the largest synagogue in the city. We are across Shea from a resort, a golf resort, that is very active and very successful. We are immediately west of a church, and we are north of a vacant lot that Congregation Beth Israel still maintains, our nearest neighbor. I will point out that the single-family lot just south of the vacant lot next to us, Mr. Weiss, has already shown his support and indicated his support for this case. So our closest neighbors are in support, and our immediate neighbors are non-residential. The request, as you recognize, is for RE43 to CO. Again, one of the neighbors mentioned earlier that this had been already rezoned to RO and should be kept as RO. That's not the case. I think, based upon the comments that were made, she's mistaken this for the 57th Street case that was already approved a couple of years ago and under construction. As I've already mentioned, on this case, we are abiding by residential height, residential overhangs, residential look and feel in the architecture, but also limited hours and, as I mentioned, small buildings. The building that's committed is for a dental use. It's worth referencing the actual quote from the minutes only because I know Mr. Benerick mentioned that we're in accord with what was laid down as the vision for this area by District 2. But it's helpful to look at the actual language so that nobody mistakes what commitments were made and that we understand that I knew this before we filed the case, so made sure it was in keeping with Councilman Waring's demands and vision. As we compare those words to what's on this case, they are on exact accord. We've agreed to the elevations, we have agreed to additional landscape setbacks and perimeter planting standards, internal landscaping standards, streetscape landscaping standards, all of which exceed what would be otherwise required, and as you heard from Mr. Pasquale, sign standards, as well as the overall height. The building itself, designed by Druitt Works, a very renowned residential architect. The site plan, it wanted to show site access because we've heard about some of the concerns on traffic. We agreed very early on in this case that there's no reason to access 56th Street going south from this site. So we designed what's known as a pork chop to make sure access to this building cannot go anywhere other than north as you're leaving. There's no reason to drive into the neighborhood because the street system doesn't allow you to get out anywhere. So we will sign it and we will design it so it can't be led to additional traffic in the intersection. I'm sorry, in the neighborhood itself, and that it's designed to go out to the intersection. But more importantly, there's access on Shea, so there is direct access for the patients and the patrons of this building to go onto Shea Boulevard. I'll also point out, Mayor and Council, whether this was RO or whether this is CO, it's the same traffic pattern. There is only one way to access this safely that your streets department would allow. So the zoning district doesn't change that. We have also agreed to additional prohibitions to make sure that other uses couldn't occur in the future on this site, and this will be by deed restriction. This, again, came out of neighborhood meetings very early on. We've discussed the signage stipulation. Mr. Pasquale was kind enough to work with staff and work with us. The benefits are obvious. You've got a vacant parcel. This is a neighborhood service, and it's been designed at a neighborhood scale with great architecture and with input from the neighborhood. We ended up having more neighborhood meetings than were necessary, and even since our second voluntary neighborhood meeting, we've had numerous conversations with neighbors, which was resulting in some of the support you hear today. The one thing I'll do before I close this, if I can, is I want to show what CO looks like in this neighborhood. This isn't CO somewhere else in the city. This is CO that exists. This is 6 blocks away, as you can see, surrounded by residential. This is why staff is supporting this application. This is the appropriate use and the appropriate zoning district at the appropriate location. 2 other examples, again, within a stone's throw of where we are, both CO, both surrounded by residential uses. This one also happens to be next to a synagogue, so it's a good neighborhood. And this is the Tatum site that's also CO. So with that, Mayor and Council, thank you for your time. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. I do have something to say, if I could. So probably unbeknownst to the neighbors I've heard from on this case. Now, I think I heard from Mr. Pasquale. He worked with you over a period of, I don't know, months. As of yesterday, it was still in flux. You guys worked something out. That's really the way it's supposed to happen. Unfortunately, I've heard from several people who, this was new news as of Monday. I understand there wasn't a village, but there was planning commission, there are signs. But I get that not everybody heard about it. So as I mentioned earlier, I've been hearing from people this morning. I will say this, if you called me this morning, you can't call Jiffy Lube and probably get an appointment if you called this morning. So I'm sorry if I didn't get back to you right away, I just had stuff going on. But hold your fire, and we'll revisit that in a second. But I am very aware of this site because of the previous case. And I think from looking at the names, I think it's been mostly different people who have contacted this time. It sounds like one of the people, based on the conversation you had at my direction, thought it was the case from 2 years ago that we were talking about. I can't go back and undo the 2 years ago. It's too late for that now. But I live on a major street very close to this property. And I know this neighborhood extremely well. I was puzzled to get an email talking about how there's no businesses and this is going to ruin it. Well, I know that there are businesses because my dad lived in that neighborhood for 2 years in a care home. There are at least 3 care homes that I'm aware of, walking distance from this spot, that had been in operation, I believe it was 1979. He's now passed away, so I'm not in that neighborhood. So I've made this trip, not as many times as people who live here, but I made it multiple times every single day. COVID was in there, so there was a little bit of a break when I couldn't go visit. Every single day, I made these turns that everybody's talking about here every single day for about 1.5 years. 19 months, if you're counting. It was a painful, stressful time, but I definitely got the traffic layout there. It's busy on Shea. It's busy on my street too. I live on a major street. What do I have next to me? Exactly this kind of thing, except bigger. And then there's a light. And occasionally there's an accident and so forth, but these are all big streets, and I recognized when I moved there, there would be a lot of traffic. What do I have 2 houses down? A church. To Mr. Morris's point, the church comes, there's traffic, I don't notice an uptick or downtick. There is during rush hour. That shouldn't be new news to anybody. My house is also, like we have the acre lots and everything. My house will be bulldozed someday when I'm either dead and gone, but I suspect nobody will ever live there except me. When I'm ready to sell it, somebody's gonna bulldoze it. That happened in the house just across the little street from me on the same big major street. They built a 6,000 square foot house that's now on the market for $3.9 million. The house to the north of the church is going for $3.1 million. Again, I will reference my house isn't going for anything like that. But it is analogous to the neighborhood we're talking about. So for the person or persons who said, you're gonna kill our home values, either in emails or here, that really hasn't been the experience that I've exhibited living the reality that we're discussing here. I've heard the airport over in Scottsdale, which we have no control over, is going to kill the home values. Well, I look at Zillow, that's not really what's happened. So sometimes I think these things are overstated. But I'm living exactly like several of the people said. Very sensitive to the school issue, and we have addressed this in other neighborhoods and other cases. We just usually haven't done it based on emails we received Monday. Usually there's been a little more run-up. So unprepared for really any kind of pushback, because there hadn't been any until Monday, and like I said, I got ones as recently as this morning, I am gonna ask for this to be continued for a month, if that's okay. What I would like you to do is, I think we've got 9 emails, I think we provided the phone, I would like you to sit down and have individual meetings with those people. They don't have to take the meetings, but if you're not willing to at least discuss this on an individual basis, then I don't know how big of a problem this is. We're kind of saying it's life-altering. Either it is or it isn't. I'm asking you folks who are listening on the phone, people who are here, meet with the developer, see if you can work something out. If you can't, we can cross that bridge then. I think at least one person who came here asked for more time. So we're giving more time. This is a little out of pocket, given that, again, we really only heard from people in the last 2 days. So my apologies for, I know, your developer borrowing money, whatever, I get this isn't free for him. But given that there was some confusion and people were talking about a case from 2 years ago like it was still ongoing, I'd like to have that all sorted out. So, but for those who think I'm not representing them or don't know what I'm talking about, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I've spent a lot of time in your neighborhood. There are already businesses there and have been for 45 years or more. If you were unaware of that, I don't know how to fix that. That's not something your councilman can help you with. So those are my thoughts. And Mayor, I would like to make a motion for a continuance.
To March 5th?
Yes, please.
Second.
We have a motion to continue and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will see you back on March 5th.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that is our final agendized item. I will turn to our city attorney to introduce public comment, the final portion.
Thank you, Mayor. During citizen comment, members of the public may address the city council for up to 3 minutes on issues of interest or concern to them. The citizen comment session is limited to 30 minutes. The Arizona Open Meeting Law permits the city council to listen to the comments but prohibits council members from discussing or acting on the matters presented.
We have only one today, Missy Pruitt.
I'll be fast, only 3 minutes. If you don't know me, I know you guys all do. I'm Missy Pruitt. I have a nonprofit called She's All Cat. I opened Arizona's first cat cafe and am a cat advocate and educator. I want to tell you that I also want to just recap that Phoenix has a cat crisis right now. We have over 500,000 to now 1 million cats living on our streets, homeless. I've been coming to these council meetings for almost 6 months now, a little bit more. A lot of time has been spent on a lot of different topics: new construction, new businesses, grass, trees. A lot of conversation about trees, which is important. And one meeting even included making a rock park historical, also important. Again, there are 1 million almost cats homeless living on our streets. There are 9 council members up here. In November, I made a call to schedule a meeting with the mayor. I called back in December, and they said, she'll reach out to you. She's busy, but we do have your information. It is now February 5th. It's been 2 months. Not one single call, nothing. I don't know what your job is for the city council. I don't know. I'm sure it's very hard. I know you get tons of people calling you about all kinds of different things. I get people calling me every day, and I cannot help them. I cannot reply to every single person. But what I do know is that if I had a community member come to 6 months worth of council meetings, I would reach out to them. I would call them and talk to them about something, because I've been here. This is important. I brought a lot of people here last week or the week before, so obviously we're serious. You don't have to like cats, but you not only have an obligation and oath to the city and to the city of Phoenix and its citizens, but you have a moral obligation. We just passed Martin Luther King Day. He was smart. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, and I just want to leave it at that. So I would just appreciate if you guys would take us seriously, because we don't really know what to do from here. Cats are dying every day. People are sick. You can laugh, but it's a serious problem. If there were 1 million rats on the streets, what would you do? Let me just ask you that. Thank you.
Thank you. We are adjourned.